And away we go.
Okay, so you already know what we're going to talk about, right?
Yep, as of this recording, the elephant is officially still in the room. We thought he would have
It's out of
left,
the.
but it's still here, apparently.
Well, no, it's completely out. It's completely out of the cage and in the room, messing it up. Like, bro, what? You know, how many hours has it been banned? Like, what? 10 hours? 20 hours? 25? Literally 25 hours?
Less than a day, apparently.
What the? Okay, I knew. I knew that something like this was going to happen. I knew it. I knew it was all a show. It was all a skeptical. That I knew they were going to do this, Jame. I told you. I knew they were going to do something like this. They're going to try to find a way. I don't know.
Yes, you knew, and I knew, we all knew from the very beginning that something like this was going to happen. And yet, here we are. We knew it, we called it, and honestly, I'm not surprised.
Me neither, bro. But you know what really got my blood boiling?
What?
I saw some dude on Twitter.
Yes.
He was praying to Donald Trump. He was praying to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, if you can hear us, I pray to you that you can bring TikTok. But like that. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I can deal. I can deal with that. I can deal with all this other stuff going on. But man, like, bro, and I said this a while ago. It's like, bro, it's like these people worship this man Trump like he's a god. I wasn't angry at the point where I wanted to curse him out. I was like, it was pretty much, it was like righteous anger. It literally had my blood boiling while I was in the train station. I was like, are you kidding me? You're praying to Donald Trump? Like these people, like these are the same people who will do anything else but pick up a Bible and pray to the actual God. You're praying to Trump. Trump can't hear you. Trump can probably see. Trump can probably see it, but he can't hear. He cannot hear you. It's like, man, that's what really made me upset. Not in a way where I wanted to curse the guy out, but it's like upset at the point where it's like, dang, it's like, bro, you're really gonna do that? You're really gonna pray to Trump? You're really gonna pray to this man that he gives you TikTok back? You're really gonna worship an app? You're really gonna worship a Trump? You're really gonna do all of this idolatry just for an app? I'm like, bro, personally, me, I was ready to embrace Red Note, and I still am, bro. Red Note seems pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, yeah, it's like I don't really get why I don't know. I don't get why some people don't like it. I mean, I like the layout. I like everything about it, man. It's neat. It's yeah. And now those millions of people who flock to Red Note are they're flocking back to TikTok. They're flocking back to their baby TikTok.
But the thing is, though, even though we know that TikTok is here to stay, the damage is already done. Americans are wanting to learn Mandarin, and people have already got into other platforms. Like we even if TikTok, we know that at a certainty that it is here to stay, the damage is already done. Whether it be people settling into other platforms, people learning about other cultures, like of course, especially Red Note, because when people flocked over to Red Note, they've discovered that what the Chinese have heard about the Americans are true, but what Americans have heard about the Chinese are false, and that's embarrassing.
Well, hold on.
The fact that what what the Chinese have heard about America is true, but what America heard about China is false, is
Hold
just
on. What's the false narratives about China that we heard about?
well, Americans have thought that China uses child labor. One person from China has said that there's actually strict laws about young labor, like there's very strict laws about the kind of labor that's used for workforces. But one thing's for
Huh?
sure, they are not encouraging any children to work in whatever facilities as
Okay,
people thought.
first off, even if that was remotely true, I would say that was probably decades ago before our time.
Yeah.
Like even if that was remotely true, I would assume that was decades before. I didn't know people were still having that conversation about China like making their kids work endlessly. I didn't really know that we were still having that conversation. I thought that was like decades. I thought we left that in the past. I didn't. Personally, I didn't really believe that they were doing that to begin with. To be honest with you,
Well,
like in our modern time, I didn't believe that.
yeah, but apparently until now, there has been jokes going around about Shein workers and Temu workers battling out. Of course, the jokes revolving on children being the workers of Shein and Temu. But yeah, the more you
I
know.
mean, yeah, that's true, man. I gotta say, man, man, look, I knew this wasn't gonna last. I'll be honest. The only reason why I had a somewhat soft spot about it was because my mom and my sister likes using TikTok, and I knew it would make them happy if TikTok was back. But me personally, I have no tie. I have no real personal ties to TikTok. I never used TikTok. Shoot, I'll be honest. The last time I really used TikTok was when it was called Musically, but even I didn't even have an account. I was using my sister's account on her phone on a phone that we used to share. And this was years ago.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's wild.
yeah. I mean, I was just we were just messing around with the video feature and whatnot. And then yeah, so like that's really the last time I technically used TikTok when it was under a different name, but I never personally made an account. So it's I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where it's like, wow, this whole thing was anticlimactic, very anticlimactic
But also
to
frustrating.
begin with. Yeah, I can't say I'm frustrated necessarily that it wasn't banned. I knew that wasn't. I knew they were gonna try to find some way. Either that, or it was just the complete, or the CEO of TikTok and Donald Trump was in cahoots the entire time, and pretty much they said, look, I want to look like the hero, so it just seems like I brought it back and all that stuff. Even though it said, hold on, there were many posts that said Trump is likely to extend it. Did it say after his inauguration or like after the 20?
I think as of the time I'm not sure specifically when it'll start, but I think he says that there's going to be a 90-day extension to
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah,
yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard about that too, and I'm like, I thought we had until at least the 20th, man. It's like, bro, it's like it got banned at 10 o'clock last 10 or 10:30 last night Eastern time, and now it's back. It's back. I mean, I'll be honest, bro. I was kind of hoping people would embrace Red Note. I was kind of hoping that because it would have helped out. It would have helped out another platform. But those people either some people are going to be smart and stay and expand their audience on different platforms, or they're just going to go back to TikTok completely and forget this all ever happened. But this is definitely going to go down in the history books as like one of the quickest bans and unbans in history of an app, man. On top of that, it's still extremely hypocritical that they chose to opt to ban TikTok or quote unquote ban TikTok without but not ban any other Chinese app. I mean, like, bro, it's like there are tons of Chinese apps on the phone. Why I mean on the App Store, on the Play Store, why aren't we like doing something about that? That's the question. If China is such a threat, why are we focusing on one app instead of like all of the apps? Aren't they technically all Chinese threats? Because they're all from China.
yeah.
I mean,
So how is TikTok and Redno any different from each other?
that they're not. They're not. I mean, one is making more, one is just happens to be making more money than the other. So like they're not really that different. They're both video apps. They're both video apps. So hey man, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. And like look, I've downloaded Red Note too. It's honestly not that bad. I mean, I like it. Seems like a nice atmosphere. I mean, obviously, like I'm gonna be. I might not post skits, but I might post stuff that I think that would actually help the world, which is the gospel. But that's me though. But yeah, yeah, I mean, it's back. It was banned, and now it's not banned anymore. That's crazy. But I knew it wasn't gonna stay banned though the entire time.
Yeah, good point.
I just didn't think it would be this quick though.
Yeah, neither did I.
I thought we at least had 1 or 2 days. But hey, man, I saw an account that said like it's on. I saw an account that said like it's not a surprise that TikTok was unbanned. It's only going to make the Trump worship even worse. And that's true. It's gonna make the worship of Trump even worse because it's like, man, it's like that's just. I mean, yeah, it's like once again, man, it's like they're already praying to Trump and like worshiping him as their Lord and Savior. It's like, bro, it's only gonna get worse from here. It like, and this guy called Truth Seeker, he said the TikTok ban was a theater. It was a theater. It was a show. It was a show, and a lot of people got distracted by it as well. I still think that they were trying to distract us from something big. I don't know what it is. Probably the truth seekers and probably the conspiracy theorists will find that and what that is. Because ultimately speaking, I have no clue. I still think they were trying to hide something bigger from us.
That's true.
Because yeah, it's like, man, my blood. You know what? All right. This is actually kind of turning out to be an interesting year. Because
Yes, we're off to a great start.
yeah, you know what? Other than this, other than the fact that my righteous blood is boiling, not out of like, anger, like I want to curse them out, just I want to I want to correct them in the righteousness of Jesus Christ. But like, yeah, this other than that, this year is actually a great start. I mean, this is a great start to the year. It's very entertaining, honestly. You know, we might be against the elites, but I got to give them a round of applause for the show that they're putting on so far.
Yes, I find it quite amusing, in my opinion.
All right, yeah, honestly. But it's also exposing the amount of the people who are so addicted to TikTok. I mean, a couple years ago, we were saying that TikTok was bad for the youth. Now we're advocating for TikTok to be here. A couple of years ago, the Republican Party was advocating for TikTok to be gone. But now that their daddy and their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, has advocated for TikTok to stay, the conservatives are like, yeah, let's keep the app. Let's keep the Chinese app that we were against 4 years ago. Let's keep the Chinese app that we were that we were dissing 4 years ago. Of the people we were dissing 4 years ago, saying that the virus came from them 4 years ago. Let's keep the app. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. These people worship. These people follow their daddy, their savior, their Lord, their God, Donald Trump. And I say that I say that out of respect, but it's also not disrespect. It's just fact. It's just factual. But yeah, it's like, man, it's like they'll. I'll be honest, man. These are the same people who are going to take the mark of the beast. These are the same people who are going to stand in line, wait for their chip to be inserted into their arms or their foreheads, and follow Trump. And then when Trump someday is no longer here, people are going to say, "What have I done to myself?" Or people are going to realize when it's too late, "What have I done to myself? Why did I do this? Is it worth being separate? Is it worth being separated from God?" It's not. It's not, because ultimately speaking, man, it's like people really act like we have eternal life now. People act like we're gonna live forever. I don't get that. I really don't.
That's just not the
There's
case.
Yeah, it's not the case. It was the case. It was the case at one point at one point in life, in the beginning of life, actually. But you know the story. Adam and Eve, like got tempted and ate the apple, and that was the first sin of the world. But ultimately speaking, it's like, yeah, that was the case. I wish that was the case, but it's not. It's just. But ultimately speaking, this year is very eye opening. But it's only going to continue to get good. It's only going to continue to get good for us, but also terrible for other people.
Yes, few gets the benefit, the others gets the downfall.
Exactly. I also said to myself, man, like, look, bro, we're really in the last days, man. I gotta get out. I gotta get out of the city somehow with my family. Because in reality, it's like I feel like I know what's coming next, bro. They're gonna try to push this whole. They're really gonna try to do something. I, they're gonna try to push this whole mark of the beast on us next. And I heard rumors that, like, have you heard of the Trump coin? First of all,
No, I haven't heard about that.
well, I think it's some crypto. I think it's some crypto coin or
Oh,
crypto.
the crypto. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, like I really don't know what their plan is for that, but
It's
obviously,
it's just one of those headlines where someone is trying to gain clout from mainstream topics, something like.
Yeah, apparently he's doing pretty good for some people though. But I still believe it's fishy. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust these elites. I don't trust the people who pushed out that coin. I don't trust them, bro. And the very fact that other people are trusting him, other people putting their lives in Trump's hands, whether they be Muslim, Christian, or just agnostics, or just anybody really, man. It's like it's just sad. It's fishy. It's like you put all your trust in these leaders, man. It's like, bro, these leaders don't care about you. Trump probably doesn't even know what, completely know about crypto. So that begs the question: why would you put your trust in a coin that most likely has nothing to do with? Well, it has something to do with Trump, except he's not the one orchestrating it. That's the thing. Because Trump is old. You really think he knows about crypto? He's a million. He made his millions, but who knows? He probably knows about crypto, or at least a little bit about crypto to know that it's can either be good or bad. But man, 2025, man. It's only been like 19 days in the year, and so far a lot of things are happening, big things.
Yes, a lot of big things.
So, what's your take on this whole situation?
Well, regardless of how this TikTok thing has gone, I think the damage that the US government did to get rid of TikTok to begin with, that damage is already done. And I have actually got three reasons why. First off, RedNote, which is an actual Chinese-based app. A lot of Americans actually flown over to RedNote as one of form of protests against the US government. If you're going to ban an app that a lot of Americans use, they're just gonna flock over to another app. And if you ban that app, like RedNote, again, they're gonna flock over to another app. Any app but Instagram or Facebook. And I've seen a lot of Americans actually deleting Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger in protest of their government, because a lot of people are arguing that the reason why the TikTok ban went ahead is so that Mark Zuckerberg can make his more millions and more.
Huh? I never thought of it that way.
Like
I don't think that.
Facebook and Instagram are both based in the United States. The US government doesn't care about what goes on each platform so long as there is connection and there are strings attached in some shape and form. With TikTok, that's not the case. Like, a lot of people relied on TikTok for news around the world, and as well as some kind of their creator program. The monetization is absolutely out of this world. Many people made money out of TikTok creator program, especially people in Palestine, in the Gaza Strip, because of what was going on between them and Israel. A lot of Palestinians managed to make some money out of the TikTok creator program, as well as the GoFundMe pages that they have attached in their TikTok profiles. So TikTok, in some shape or form, has benefited the world, however way we see it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. And man, this year, man, it's off to a crazy start. A good start, but also a crazy start, and at the same time very concerning start. Gonna be honest, it's honestly extremely concerning with how people are reacting to it, and people honestly put all their trust and comeuppance in an app, a freaking app. Now, I see the benefits of being on an app and growing your following. I do. I did that at one point on Instagram, but then I just did the account because I don't know. I was under the impression that all of the followers needed to like your stuff in order to seem legit. But I found out later on that that's not always the case with some people. But it's ultimately speaking, yeah, I know, but it's at the same time, it's not a big deal. And ultimately speaking, when you die, bro, those followers aren't gonna go with you. Some of them might still follow you out of remembrance of you, but that's about it. Shoot, man, I even unfollowed one of my favorite art or one of my people who I thought no okay. I unfollowed one of my favorite artists, Juice World, because I saw that there was no point in following the guy anymore. It's he's gone, and yeah, it's it's just sad. at the state of this world that we're in right now. It's just honestly very sad. But honestly speaking, man, I gotta say, this TikTok ban is just something crazy, man. It's been definitely been a topic of conversation for the last couple of days.
Yes, and it's certainly the highlight of this decade.
It really is though.
Yes.
So far, it is. It's the highlight. But the idol worship of Donald Trump is becoming very scary. This is a mock-up of the 7-foot bronze statue of Donald Trump that will be touring the U.S. So I saw the bronze statue too, and it's like it reminded me of a Trojan horse. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that bronze statue of Donald Trump with his fist in the air, fight, fight, fight. That reminded me of a Trojan horse. I don't know why. Can you tell me why?
Honestly, I don't have an answer to that one.
I can probably sum it up like this. I don't know, because Donald Trump in of himself, he's the Trojan horse, and ultimately I can kind of see someone hiding in that bronze Trojan horse statue of Donald Trump, and just ultimately just surprising us and surprising people. But man, it's just this worship is just terrible. It's just scary and concerning. Because like sooner than you know it, people are gonna be praying to that bronze statue. People are gonna be kissing that bronze statue's feet. People are gonna be hugging that bronze statue, like as they're gonna be putting their hands on that bronze statue as their source of power. Like Trump, give me the will to do this. Give me the will to do that. Those people are ultimately doomed, anyways,
Yeah.
because they put they put too much trust in their country. They put too much trust in their president and in their country. And I will say this: Donald Trump is their God, and their country is their church. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of where you're from, but if it gets to the point where you're just like putting your country and your skin color or anything above God, it just gets concerning at that point. I mean, or Trump could ultimately be their form of a preacher, and then the country can ultimately be their church, and their God can be something completely different from Trump. But ultimately speaking, man, it's just all in all concerning, and it's all in all just sad. And I'll be honest, someone also pointed out on Twitter that apparently his inaugural day was on like 1/19, 9/11, and I think I like sent you a video like
Yeah.
in regard, and it's like, yeah, you can argue and say that it's not that deep, but at the same time, I wouldn't put it past them to make it that deep. I really wouldn't put it past them for them to make it that deep. But and like based on the video I saw, what the guy said, it made a lot of sense. Not just because he referred back to the Bible. Everything in that video he said made a lot of sense. Ultimately speaking, but yeah, it's all conspiracy though. It's all conspiracy. It may or may not be true. I'm just saying that it made a little sense, but it might not be true. It's just an opinion. No one is right or wrong. It's just an opinion. For the sake of this whole podcast. But yeah, it's just an opinion.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say.
And I think the very cherry on top of all of this TikTok controversy is the fact most Americans, not all of them, but most Americans, at least the ones who flood over to Red Note, there was a huge spike in terms of people learning. There's a huge spike of people learning Mandarin Chinese.
Well, that's pretty good though. At least some people are trying to learn Chinese. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it
I'm not gonna
is.
lie. Learning Chinese is a hard language.
Oh yeah, it sure
I
is.
really don't know how people learn that. I mean, I get if you've got it from birth, but I really can't see myself learning Chinese. I mean, and if I did learn Chinese, man, it would take hours. I'm gonna be honest. It would take a bunch of hours for me to actually learn Chinese in of itself. Because ultimately speaking, man, I mean, English, I can read, and I can honestly understand why certain people take long to learn English. Although I don't get it. Although I understand English, and I understand that, like, the letters are, certain ways, and Some people might not understand it. Just like I don't understand Chinese. If I learned it from birth, I'd probably be somewhat good at Chinese, but obviously that wasn't gonna happen. Obviously that wasn't gonna happen, like, because I live in America. And so of course I'm just gonna learn English, but hey man. It's good that people are learning Chinese though. Good for them. And
Yes,
it's at least they're exploring other like, avenues of, like, different languages. That's good.
absolutely.
And I'm also glad people got that misconception of China out of their heads, where it's like, yeah, there are, like, kids in sweatshops. Personally, I did not think we were having that conversation. I did not believe that we were actually still having that conversation in 2025 or 2024, or really in any form of our modern day. I thought that was like, I mean, obviously, I believe, who knows? Maybe the U.S. lied about that too. Maybe the U.S. lied about, like, Chinese people having children in sweatshops and whatnot. Maybe they lied about that too. But as far as I'm concerned, maybe it was prominent sometime in human history at one point. At one point, maybe. Just like slavery in America was very prominent. This was probably prominent as well, until they fixed the problem. But for some odd reason, there was still this misconception that they were using children in that way. But what else is in the news?
Let's see.
Apparently, Russell Brand is part of the club too.
Oh my, what a surprise. Yahoo! I mean, no, no.
I mean, it's unfortunate too. He said it was a Christian too. That's very unfortunate.
Gosh, giant Darth Vader sea bug discovered off the coast of Vietnam.
I'm sorry. What?
Scientists have named a new deep sea isopod Bathynomus vaderi after the character Darth Vader due to its helmet-like head. The discovery of Bathynomus vaderi highlights the limited knowledge we had about deep-sea creatures. Currently, there are only 11 known supergiant and 9 giant Bathynomus species, with more pending formal description.
That's interesting.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the more you know.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. The more you know. And are people really still tweeting there are only two genders in 2025? We know this already.
Well,
It's like,
who knows?
probably for just engagement. I think they're just doing it for engagement at that point.
Yeah. If you see someone recording in any circumstance, like any fights or arguments, just know it was never real to begin with.
What'd you say?
I said, if you see a video on social media of people arguing, getting into fights, or anything that seems drama-esque like, it's not real to begin with. They're doing it just for show.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's most likely not real. So it's like, you really shouldn't take fights like that too serious. You really shouldn't take fights like that too serious. And ultimately speaking, man, that's all I really gotta say. You just shouldn't take certain things too seriously. I mean, it's all for just show at the end of the day. We are living in a simulation. We're living in a show. Man, I do know someday we're gonna get back to a time where we're just living as humans, where, I don't know, actual humans, and not just for the sake of his entertainment and instant gratification. I know we're gonna get back to that someday. But for the time being, human history is declining. It's becoming something different. But ultimately speaking, you just have to endure. You just have to stick to your guns, and, well, ultimately speaking, man, on that last day, that's all that really matters. Wait, in China, desk transforms into beds for kids, naps, aiding brain growth.
Huh?
Hold on. In China, desks transform into beds for kids. Oh, that is awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah, honestly, that's great.
Yeah,
Wish
and especially in China, these children go to school for like 15 hours roughly each day, so it makes sense. It definitely makes sense to have desks that can do that.
Oh man, China's looking more and more. China's looking better, even more and more better than, like,
As a country.
yeah, as a country. Like China's looking great, great, great look, like great people. I don't really know how they'd like me, but great people. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure. I think as long as I don't do anything that the other, I think as long as I don't do anything that the other black people did, I'll be good. Just keep to myself and just not do what those other black people in like Japan or just any of these other countries did to them to disrupt the peace of the country. But yeah, it's like great looking women. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like they have nice looking women. I'm not gonna say the dudes look nice. Although I'm pretty sure I'd be cool with them as friends. But that's about it. But yeah, no, China has a like great culture in of itself.
It does.
And I will say this, man. Yeah, shoot, it almost makes me want to move to China.
Yeah.
It almost makes me want to move to China, almost. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of things would need to happen before I would ever consider that decision. Like a lot of things would need to happen. But at the same time, I don't know. If I'm here by the time the Mark of the Beast takes full effect, I'm not going to be able to move. All I can really do is hide in a bunker or hide underground or like. Not that I'm going to do that, but yeah, all I can really do is like hide in a just hide out where. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Yes, I would do that. I absolutely would. There's no point in lying. I would absolutely do that because, like, look, at the end of the day, if money becomes digitalized, I'm not going to be able to do certain things anymore. So you know what? Yes, I'll disappear from the world, but at the same time, I might not completely disappear. I just won't be able to buy things. That's about it. So it's like I have to learn how to fish, hunt, grow my own food, and yeah, that's what I have to do because I I have no choice. I'll have no choice. Other people will have a choice because they sold their souls. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Israel-Hamas ceasefire takes effect in Gaza, halting 15 months of war.
I wish they would just stop the war.
Yeah, I do
I have a lot.
too.
How long has it been going on for? Like a year, 2 years?
Oh, at least over a year for sure.
Okay, yeah. Cause I'll be honest, I would have been surprised if it was 2 years. I would have been a little surprised because I would have said, "Dang, it's like it started only last year." Yeah, but man, they just gotta stop the war. I mean, Israel's in the wrong. Gaza's in the wrong. They're both in the wrong. They're both bro, they're both killing innocent people. They're both killing innocent people on both sides. I'm not taking a side. I'm not gonna criticize one side and validate the other. I'm not taking a stand on one side. Taking a stand on peace. I ultimately want peace on both sides. So it's just a matter of the fact they gotta straighten this out themselves, but they're not going to. And if they do straighten it out. It's probably going to take like what a couple years until it's officially resolved.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the truth. Is there anything else in the news?
Thousands of Capital One customers locked out before a 3-day weekend.
I'm sorry. What are they looking out for?
Thousands of Capital One customers locked out before 3-day weekend.
Oh, locked out
Yes.
of their houses.
No, out of their accounts.
Okay, got you. Okay, got you. Is there more context to it, like on why they have been locked out of their accounts?
Yeah, a tech glitch has caused thousands of Capital One customers to be unable to access their accounts. The issue reportedly popped up on Thursday, January 16th, and lingered into Friday, January 17th. It left many people unable to access everything from direct deposits to paychecks across the United States.
Huh. That's interesting. That is very interesting.
Yes.
And I mean, I wonder why those people got locked out of their accounts.
Well,
Honestly,
I think if the same reason can be said for TikTok, maybe it could be said here, because
actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. That does make sense.
like a
Also,
lot of people on TikTok did make money if they were eligible for the creator program.
how can you be eligible for the creator program exactly?
Well, there's specific criteria to be eligible to apply. I think one of them is you got to have at least 10,000 followers. You have to have some amount of engagement in the last 30 days. And I think there was a third one, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah,
Huh.
but there are certain criteria that you have to meet. But once you met those criteria, away you go.
Ah, okay. That sounds 10,000 is it's not bad, but it's not. It's still a lot, but it's not bad.
Not
Okay,
bad.
that's yeah, it's not bad. But speaking of which, I'm not gonna lie. I actually have a theory because you know how people were like locked out of their accounts in the U.S.
Yes.
Well, apparently on TikTok as well in Canada, they were locked out. So I came to the conclusion. So I came to the conclusion. I'm like, huh? Maybe Canada is unofficially part of the United States.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like because think about it, man. It's like, why are Canadians getting locked out of their own? Why are Canadians getting locked out of their accounts?
Well, I've heard that a lot of Americans, before the TikTok ban, they were thinking, why can't we just use VPNs or something? But even they do,
Because of what?
but even if they do use VPNs, there are two things you have to consider in terms of why people from other countries were able to access TikTok when Americans couldn't. It comes down to their phone's eSIM and their phone number. If those two are from another country that isn't the United States, they can still access TikTok, like me, from the UK. So it's likely that there is a kind of a blend between Americans and Canadians with criteria where,
And with like area codes and all that stuff.
yes, but of course, it comes down to even if Canadians do have a Canadian eSIM and have a Canadian phone number, if they could try connect to Wi-Fi networks in the United States, they are pretty much restricted in accessing TikTok. But if they use mobile data from their eSIM that is based in Canada, they can get on TikTok just fine.
Huh? Huh? I'll be honest. I thought it would have been illegal for Americans to use a VPN.
Well, there's no specific laws about using VPN, but lawmakers did say we will give penalties to Americans that do use VPNs to access TikTok.
All right, then what's the point of the VPN app then, bro? You might as well just take that away from us too.
Yeah, but
Because
then that will cause a lot more problems because you're saying we don't want the American people using anything else because we're worried that they're gonna figure out that we want them to use our services and our businesses for for our own political gains. Something along those lines. Allegedly. Debatably. Who knows?
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But that's in the most extreme of cases. We haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah, that we definitely haven't gotten to that point yet. But in other news, TikTok being banned isn't some conspiracy. They were openly working with the CCP. All they have to do is sell it. Conservatives fighting against this is weird. That's true.
Also, speaking of selling, TikTok themselves, they have said they're not selling themselves out to anyone. However, I've seen a couple of posts that Facebook have made their own TikTok account. And people are wondering, have TikTok sold to Meta?
Wait, TikTok made their own Facebook account.
Well, people are saying that Facebook has a TikTok account, but
Oh,
it's
oh,
unsure how long they had it for. It's only now people are figuring out that Facebook had a TikTok account already, and people are speculating that TikTok might have somehow sold out to Meta, but there's nothing concrete about that yet.
that's true. That's true. There's really nothing concrete about that. And yeah, once again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens and let the cards fall as they may. But yeah, let's simply let the cards fall as they may. And yeah, it's like we just have to see what happens next. Because ultimately speaking, man, it's like we really don't know what's going on, but we kind of do, but we kind of don't. It's like it's just we're just pretty much seeing what the news, what like the news feeds us. So we're gonna see what the news will let us see and will let us hear, etc., etc., etc. And we're just gonna have to see where the cards fall. We're gonna have to see where everything goes. And sorry, I got distracted for a minute. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, we only know the information that they choose to put out. And that's pretty much the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Like Snapchat to the youth is more harmful to the youth than TikTok. Both are harmful to the youth, but hey, whatever. Once again, doesn't affect me. I personally never use TikTok, and frankly, like, look, I'm willing to use Red Note way before I use TikTok. And Donald Trump releases its inauguration cover. He's back.
He's,
Donald
he's,
Trump.
he's back in the White House.
Yep. Looking like the savior of America in this photo, huh? He ain't gonna save us. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't even care about his own followers anymore. I feel like at one point he did, but obviously he got the whole talking to, and yeah, he's bought and sold. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
Yeah. And eventually, he's going to be buddy-buddy with all the other former presidents.
Oh, he's already buddy with them. He's buddy with Barack Obama. He's buddy. He might be buddy with Michelle Obama. I don't use TikTok, so nothing of value was lost today. Awesome. Same here. But it's good to report on. Mr. Beast, Kai Cenat, and Soldier Boy failed to save TikTok. Hold on? I knew Mr. Beast said something, but when did Soldier Boy and Kai Cenat say anything about saving TikTok?
I'd never heard anything about that.
Me neither. Actually, Soldier Boy, I can kind of see him saying something like that, but Kai Cenat.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Sweden building world's second nuclear waste storage site amidst safety concerns.
What are these safety concerns that they're, concerned about?
Alright, so Sweden has started building the world's second ever long-term storage facility for spent nuclear fuel. The site is located in Forsmark, Sweden, approximately 90 miles north of Stockholm. The site is designed to securely contain highly radioactive waste from 100,000 years. Finland remains the only other country nearing completion of a permanent storage solution for nuclear waste.
Okay, well that's good that they're, but as for the other place, man, it's just they gotta figure that out. That's really dangerous.
Yeah,
I mean, how would you feel if you lived somewhere where there's nuclear waste?
I'd be concerned, to be honest.
Honestly, me too. I mean, nuclear waste. I'll be honest. I feel like if it was any other, I don't know. Maybe I feel like New York could have went down that filled with nuclear waste, because I don't know. Within the city, we're already filled with already homeless. I actually saw two. Of them. As I was going to church, they were sweet. They were sweet people. One was a woman and one was a man. They were sweet. They were sweet people. They didn't seem like they were on any drugs. Yeah, sweet people. But yeah, it's nuclear waste is not a laughing matter. Definitely not a laughing matter for the most part. I know that in specifically, it will be dealt with. Some I don't know how, but it'll be dealt. I don't necessarily have any doubt that they'll just leave it as be. America maybe, but any other country, no. I think yeah, it's like some countries actually care about their people and their country. Like China. We've been talking about China a lot.
Yes, we have.
But is there anything else in the news?
Here we go again. Chinese-owned Red Note follows CCP censorship. Could be next banned app.
Really?
Yeah.
What did Red Note do? What did they do?
Well, apparently, they are a company based in China. The worst enemy of the United States government.
So they're threatening to ban Red Note now, huh?
Yes, because a lot of Americans only flown to Red Note in spite of the United States government banning TikTok.
Well, I'll be honest, man. Once again, I have no ties to TikTok, man. I just downloaded Red Note because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, but either way, even if Red Note does get banned, people that were on Red Note who originally refuged out of TikTok they're just gonna find another app that isn't Facebook or Instagram, because that's the whole point. They're going to another social media app to begin with.
That's true. Matter of fact, let me see if TikTok is back on my phone. Hold on, let me see if TikTok is back on the App Store. Hold on, let me check. For me.
Okay.
I still don't see it for some reason.
Yeah, even though the servers for TikTok are back up, it still hasn't come back to the app stores yet.
Got you. Okay. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest. I guess they didn't expect people to like flee to like another app. So I mean, once again, bro, if you're gonna like just if you're gonna ban, I'm gonna say this, bro. If you think China is such a threat, then why don't you just ban other apps then?
Like Temu.
Temu. Oh yeah, right, Temu. Yeah, sorry, I briefly forgot what Temu was. Yeah, like Temu. Like, why don't you just ban Temu at that?
Good question.
I mean,
Why don't they?
why don't they ban like Bigo? Why don't they ban like other like Chinese apps? Why don't they ban like anything else that's from China? It's like they can, but they don't. Probably because they didn't expect Americans to like flee to these apps. But at the end of the day, I personally don't know what to say, man.
Neither do I.
So yeah, it's hypocrite. It's a bit hypocritical at the end of the day
It is, yeah.
that they're focusing on one app to ban, but they're not banning other apps that actually should be banned. But it's a bit of a drag. But what are you really gonna do, huh?
Well, there's only one thing we can do.
What is that? And what's that?
Well, we can make our own platform.
That's true. That's true. But in our case, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, it's certainly going to take quite the journey to get there.
Hey, man. I'll say Catholic universities are promoting homosexual sin bias. I'll read that later. Anyways, yeah, it's like it's definitely gonna take us a long journey to create an app, but we can do it. We can definitely do it, but it's not gonna be done in a day. And we can give people another alternative to look forward to. But yeah, it's like we said, it's not gonna just take a day.
It takes years to get to where we want to be. It takes years to get to where we want to be.
It definitely will take years to get to where we want to be. It definitely is gonna take like many years. But what else in the news?
Dutch police arrest hundreds of climate activists.
For what?
Dutch police on Saturday detained hundreds of climate activists and used 2 water cannons to break up a protest that blocked off a main highway into The Hague for several hours. The protest by Extinction Rebellion (XR) activists followed several similar protests last year to demonstrate against Dutch fossil fuel subsidies and to highlight the effects of something.
I feel like you've read that before. I don't know why.
Yeah, neither did I. It feels like deja vu.
Yeah, I feel like you've read this before. Like, were they blocking like people from cars from like going places?
Yeah, sounds like it. Like, if they were standing in the middle of highways, motorways, then I think it did cause traffic, and people in cars weren't able to get to where they want to be in a timely manner.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely have read this before.
Yeah, but again, most Dutch people get to point A to point B by.
That's true. But hey, I hope those people recovered from what happened. That's really all I can say. I hope they recovered and they're okay now.
Yep, hope all is resolved, and we continue with our lives.
That's true.
Inmates fighting in LA fires. Happy to pay my debts this way, they say.
What? They're fighting fires.
So over 1,100 California inmates are working to help Cal Fire battles in Eaton and Palisades fires, which are the largest in the Los Angeles area recently. Inmates earn between $5.08 and $10.24 a day, plus an extra $1 an hour during active wildfires, according to the Corrections Department.
Interesting.
Many believe inmates deserve better pay for their dangerous work as they earn less than $30 a day while risking their lives.
I think they deserve more for risking their lives.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they're. I mean, I get it though, but I don't know. Maybe bump that up to 50 or something, man. It's like, come on. I don't know. Maybe bump that up to 50 or something, man. It's like I think they deserve more.
Yeah,
I mean, they're doing it. They're doing the job. So hey, bump it up to 40 or 50 at least.
I agree.
But yeah, it's like for the most part, it's a good thing that those inmates are doing. I mean, they're risking their lives for crying out loud. But ultimately speaking, hey man, it's up to them. Anything else in the news?
Well, no tax on tips make tipping culture even more taxing for Americans.
Wait, more taxes for Americans?
Yeah, the headline reads, Will no tax on tips make tipping culture even more taxing for Americans?
Tipping cult, tipping culture. How so? Does it say how does it make it more
So,
more of that?
a bipartisan group of lawmakers led by Senator Ted Cruz introduced a bill to do away with taxes on tipped income. The legislation comes as Americans are already tipping less as price rises, along with
Hey,
tipping fatigue.
hey man, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, like sometimes you would like to tip a person, but because things are so high, it's like you won't want to tip the person because it's like that's it's not that it's a waste of money. It's just that the fact that things are just too high to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't tip it because I'm gonna need this money for something else. So yeah, in this day and age, it is hard to kind of it's hard to want to tip people. You should do it, obviously, but yeah, it's hard to want to tip people in a day and age where it's like things are just so high. But is there anything else in the news?
China's solar space station may create more energy than all Earth's oil.
How so?
Scientists in China are constructing a large-scale space-based solar power station, which they claim could generate more energy annually than all the oil on Earth combined. The proposed structure will be over half a mile long and located approximately 22,236 miles above Earth, transmitting power back to the planet via microwaves.
Hmm. Wow, very interesting.
Yes.
Well, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, well, another win for China. Like, as much as I'm concerned about China's government, China as a society, with its technological advancements and its architecture, sometimes, but also the urbanization and much China is progressing. Good on them. I'm not saying I will, but I would rather go to mainland China than live in the United States, at least most parts in the US.
I will say this: we've been talking about China a lot this episode.
Yes, we sure have.
China just keeps taking W's, man.
Yeah.
More W's than America.
Whether people are like it or not, they are winning in some way.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, but hey, ultimately speaking, man, you can't deny the facts.
No, you can't. No matter how hard they try, it's just hard.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to censor. That's why they're trying to censor China, man. Not saying China is the best. Actually, I wouldn't know if China is the best. I wouldn't know if China is necessarily the best. I'd have to personally take a trip there to find out if it is the best, but that's not happening. Not because I don't want to, but it's because I can't. But hey, man, China continues to keep impressing, keep impressing, and hey, I'm just gonna say this: China, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's all you can really do.
So true.
But is there anything else in the news?
Yes.
Or is it okay?
There is something else. Just gotta find how long will it take, bugger.
What happened?
Actor Timothy Chalamet fined after riding Lime bike to movie premiere.
Hold on. Back up. Say that one more time.
Actor Timothy Chalamet fined after riding Lime bike to movie premiere.
He was fined for riding a bike to a movie premiere.
Yeah, not just any bike. It's a rent. It's a
He was fined for riding a rental bike. Why? Why?
why? It's a look. Okay, I know the will is super as it is, but this takes the cake for sure.
So is that where we're at in our society now? We're getting fined for riding rental bikes?
Yes, to a movie premiere. Like, can you just not let people be quirky every now and then? Not always, but at least some occasion.
Who knows? He's probably just being humble.
Fair enough. Well, I'll give him credit for that. But come on, man. At least once, just let him off. Otherwise, come on, man. There are bigger issues to worry about. This is not one of them. This is not one of them.
Yeah, that's true. It's really not. It's really not one of them. I mean, hey, it's just not. I mean, all I can really say is, yeah, he was either trying to be quirky or trying to be humble. But hey, that's what you get, man, for trying to be different. Hey, you don't pull up in a limo. You're not gonna pull up in a limo. You're gonna get fined for it.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll teach you to be different from. That'll teach you to be different. That'll teach you to try to be like a civil human being.
Yeah.
That'll teach you next time you'll learn to pull up with your own private driver. You know, don't be too humble. We don't want you to. We don't want people to believe that we're like them.
No, you're too relatable.
Yeah, that'll teach you to be a little. But what else is in the news?
The British Petroleum to slash thousands of jobs in cost-cutting move.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Is there any more on that?
Yes, the UK-based oil and gasoline company, commonly known as BP, is cutting nearly 5,000 jobs worldwide. Those cuts get even bigger when you factor in that the corporation is also slashing 3,000.
3,000 contractors, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, huh? Trump opposes joint venture with TikTok, granting America a 50% ownership stake. Huh.
Yep. There we go.
TikTok was. Wait, what'd you say?
There we go. There's always
Okay.
something.
Okay, so here's the time that TikTok was banned. TikTok was banned in America for 14.
Yes. And then
Not even.
all of a sudden, it's back.
Yeah, crazy. Trump plans an executive order to delay TikTok. We already knew that. Ben Gavier's party has resigned from Netanyahu's government for agreeing to Trump's ceasefire, accusing the Israeli PM of surrendering to terrorism.
Now I can see where he's coming from that, but
How so?
I think that from that sense alone, it gives me the impression that most ministers in the Israeli government don't want to end the war against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Because if someone in the Israeli government is resigning because Netanyahu is wanting to have a ceasefire, I think that speaks volumes about people in the Israeli government trying to prolong this war for who knows how long and how many lives that is going to cost.
Yeah, I can see your point. I can see your point on that. I can actually see your point. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
So is there anything else in the news?
I think that's us.
All right. Peace.